All right. So, hello and welcome to the Party Center Speaks podcast. This is the podcast for family entertainment centers and event venue owners, operators, managers, and staffers looking to grow their businesses. Want to learn more about booking parties, improving facility operations, and more, then this podcast is for you. So, my name is Nadia Milton, and I'm the client relationship and marketing coordinator here at Party Center Software. In this episode, we will be talking about operating a large FEC in a small city. My guest on today's podcast is Miss Pierce here, Charlotte, and her husband Jeff run a successful FEC in Paducah, Kentucky, called Atomic City Family Fun Center. So, Atomic City Family Fun Center is a premier entertainment destination that offers a wide range of fun-filled activities that are suitable for all ages. So, they really focus on creating unforgettable experiences, and Atomic City caters to families, thrill seekers, private events. They ensure that they have something for everyone. So, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, let's jump right in. Paducah, Kentucky is where Atomic City is located, and that's a city with just over 26,000 people. I live in Georgia, and Atlanta has millions of residents. Yet, your facility rivals what we would see in much larger markets. What inspired you to bring a large-scale concept to a smaller town?
Once we started, we added attractions. We found out that what Jeff and Charlotte want is not necessarily what the public wants. So finding out your audience and targeting that, we've added some attractions, taken some things away.
Perfect. So now I imagine there might be a few challenges running an FEC in a smaller market. Can you share how you've addressed some of those?
Yes, one thing that helps us is our location. Before we opened, we checked several different areas, did feasibility studies, and we decided on our location, which is about 6/10 of a mile from I-24. And we are just a few miles away from Metropolis, Illinois. So over Illinois, and then we're 2 hours north of Nashville and about 2 hours south of St. Louis. So it's a good in between area in order to have that. We do focus on, marketing outside our area. So we have a lot of the smaller counties that will come in. And then we also, to do that, we do team building. Party Center has been instrumental in helping us streamline our booking software for private events, for birthday parties. So that has been very instrumental in us being able to reach a broader audience where they can get on our website and they can book their events or they can send in information and we can streamline each party for however that needs to be. There's no cookie cutter. We can make it work for any budget.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, what has been the best strategies that you've used to help just build your brand locally and build your loyalty, just getting the word out?
A lot of it is finding mentors in the industry, finding somebody, we've been in it. Getting ready to be in our fifth year of doing it. And something that's been very important is having those people in your network that can help you. Someone that's had an FEC for 20 years, somebody for 30 years, somebody 10 years, and then somebody brand new that you can feed into each other and find out what's working in your market, what's not working in a certain area. We have the flip and spin bumper cars, where in some areas it's not a huge selling point. In ours, it's something that works very well. So finding what works in your market and giving it time, talking to the industry experts, making friends, having a short call list has been very instrumental in us being successful. Talking to people in other FECs has been very well. Listening to, when we call Party Center, a lot of times we think it's a certain way, and then just trusting you guys, your knowledge, and saying, hey, this is what works well. You should try this.
That makes sense. Perfect.
Yes.
And so then, so I read that Paducah has a little over 26,000 people in it, where I'm from
Yes.
Georgia and Atlanta alone has millions. So
Yes.
how do you go about kind of fostering a community since it seems like it'd be a more intimate maybe vibe?
One thing that we decided to do early on that has been very instrumental is we don't joined our local chamber, and our chamber is nationally recognized. It's almost been, I think we've been Chamber of the Year a couple of times. Sandra Guest, that she is over our chair, she is part of an exclusive 100 people, in the National Chamber of Commerce. So that's something been very important, instrumental. Joining our membership and marketing team, getting feelers out there. We have what we call a leadership class. I'm involved in that. Just going to these things, I've been able to book, different team building, finding out what works. We would do private event quotes and finding out that if you rebrand that as team building, and then it's a different revenue stream,
Oh, wow.
and then team building, instead of renting out the whole facility with all of the attractions, you call it team building, and there's four. It's hard to team build on a flip and spin arena. If you can't really team build on a soft play. However, you can team build on your go-karts, on your laser tag, on your glow golf, and on our duck pin social bowling. So that's been a different revenue stream that we've done. you know doing the local schools, the schools out of there, making sure you give back to your community. Finding a lot of times we have a lot of people that ask us for donations, and we will do that on a smaller scale. However, we focus on one that we can give more money to instead of a little bit of money everywhere. We found that that's been very beneficial, partnering with the schools, partnering with other people, and then word of mouth is huge.
That's true. That makes sense. And so, are you big on strategies like seasonal promotions or weekday events too?
Yes, we do that. Like in February, focus on Valentine, you
Mhm.
know, letting people know what you have. We have our day passes, and promoting that is a good thing. I do like we do a coffee hour. I meet with other entrepreneurs in the area. And so something that we're going to start doing now is maybe doing little short videos, like Maintenance Mondays, where I have our maintenance person show a little short snippet of a video, a teaser video showing, hey, this is how we maintain our go-karts, and put that out there on social media to get people talking, thinking outside of the box, finding what works in your market, because every market's different. You got to find your audience. And then also learning that you can't be everything for everybody. We might not be the right, for every budget. I mean, some people, we want to be on the rotation. We want to promote other businesses in the area, and partnering with them is a win-win.
Wow. Oh, wow. No, that's perfect because I was just wondering. It seems like your facility is pretty much an all-in-one. You have a lot of good attractions, and then, what about the competition, especially being in a small city? But it seems like you don't view them more so as competition, but as allies.
Yes, we do treat them as allies. When we did ours, we made sure that there is a local bowling alley. We didn't want to put somebody else out of business. However, we can reflect on and add to other great experiences in our area, and in doing so that we can be on the rotation of fun things to do. You want it to be a positive, saying, hey, there's some great things to do in Paducah, and we are one another layer of doing that. So you want other businesses to be successful, because when they're successful, you're successful.
Right. Makes sense. And
Yes.
Earlier you mentioned, just make sure you're the right budget. You might not fit everybody's budget. So how do you approach pricing strategies when guests may or may not have those tighter budgets?
We just learned that, like I said, that sometimes we just can't, we might not be in their budget, and that's okay. That we found that, you know, sometimes your best customer is not your customer. If somebody says you're too high, whatever, I just come back with thank you for seeing the value and what we have to offer. If you try to please everybody, you'll please no one, is what we have found out.
Yeah.
What we do after every private event, after every birthday party, we reach back out to them. We ask them, what did you enjoy about it? What do you think that we could do to improve it? And we have like changed the way that we do birthday parties. And I'm sure a lot of people would think, the way we do it is a little different, but we found that it works best for us. And when we do something, we don't say that's against our rules. We always approach it in, we found it's a better guest experience when we handle things this way. And when you explain that to your guests, it seems to go over better than, oh, that's against the rules. We can't do that. That has a negative connotation. However, when you explain, we do it this way, and we found it's so much better guest experience when we do it this way, people get excited and think, they really listen, and we do. A lot of times we change things because we enjoyed feedback. Negative feedback is great feedback. If you don't know, you can't change something, improve it, make it better.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so,
Yes.
and I mean, like you mentioned earlier, you said that you also try to attract guests from surrounding areas and local counties too. So I'm sure that helps as well.
Yes, we do. And some of our outlying counties, that they're smaller schools, they don't have the budget like some of the bigger schools. So we're able to try to help them out on the schools. You know, the schools, it's more like a marketing. So, as long as we can break even and just make a little bit more, because when you bring them in, the kids are going to want to bring back, their parents and come and do that. So, and a lot of times, some of the kids that come there, their families don't have the budget to take them to Six Flags, to Holiday World, to Disney World. So this is going to be the closest thing for these kids to do. And just knowing during tax season, you'll have families come in that, they got a big refund back, and they're bringing their kids in there. They might not be able to pay their rent next month, but seeing the smile that you can put on these kids' faces is the reason why we do this.
Wow, that's beautiful, honestly. And I imagine that kind of goes into that community aspect and intimate feel that we
Mhm.
spoke about earlier too. And like, although you're still a smaller city, you're still getting a lot of that done because I couldn't imagine where I live and you weren't necessarily caring that much. They have millions of customers to choose from. So they get who they can get, who they can't, they're like, eh. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
And have you ever
Yes.
seen maybe like a child going to your facility when they were younger and then working there in their teenage age or anything like that? Any interesting story?
Well, one story that I have, my husband and I, we purchased a new home, and we decided to splurge a little bit, go get some new bedroom furniture. And while we were in there, one of the salespeople told us, he is married. He said, me and my wife, our first date was at Atomic City. And so it
Oh,
was kind of neat that, that you're building on those memories. We've had kids that have come in there and had their senior pictures done there.
oh,
We have employees that work there, join the military, and then come back. We have college students that do that, and some that graduated high school, and now they're in their big girl jobs, going to nursing school. So seeing that and getting invited to their college graduations is something that's neat. We haven't been in it a long time, but just forming those relationships. And when our employees leave, a lot of times you have turnover. We want them to leave better than when they got there. That that was a great experience for them, that they have learned something, and that they can pass it on to someone else.
oh, wow. Yeah, I think that the overarching thing here is just really positive, really
Yes.
taking advantage of all the good things that the city and anyone around you has to offer, whether they're another entrepreneur or even a guest or anything, and just really making a good community feel. So
Yes.
that's beautiful. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I hope our listeners in smaller cities have gained more insight into operating a larger FEC and don't feel discouraged to do so, even if they are in a smaller city. It's been a
Yes.
pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in to this episode of Party Center Speaks. I hope that we shared great and useful information for family entertainment centers or even event venues everywhere. If you have any feedback or any topics you'd like to discuss, please be sure to email marketing@partycentersoftware.com. This podcast has now transitioned to weekly, so you can catch us every Thursday for a new episode. And Party Center Speaks is powered by Party Center Software. We are a facility management tool that helps family entertainment centers and event venues book more parties and manage their facilities. We also offer marketing services such as custom website design, digital advertising, SEO, marketing automations, and so much more that is designed to help you expand your reach and grow traffic. If you'd like to learn more about us or our vendor program, head on over to partycentersoftware.com and be sure to give us a follow at Party Center Software on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn, and Party Center Soft on X. Until next time, thank you for listening. Wait, let's see. Nice.